Ladies and gentlemen, we are live with the members only live stream. We have the UFC Fight Night. I'm just kidding. It's UFC 286, Edwards versus Usman. Most confident picks to least confident picks. We got today's MMA news, and yeah, we're probably also going to do something very, very interesting, and that is an early full card prediction for next week's card. If you remember what it is, Marlon Chito Vera taking on Corey Sandhagen. So we got some good fights to go over in today's live stream. We're going to start with the confident picks, then we're going to do the UFC Fight Night Vera versus Sandhagen full card prediction. And then, once we are done with that, we are going to do today's MMA news. So, we do got a lot of things to go over in this one. So, let me find the live stream confident picks. Alright, we will get this going. So, first fight on the card is going to be Veronica Macedo, Juliana Miller. So, we're going to start our confident picks from the bottom and work our way up to the top, given our percentage chance of what I actually think they have to win at UFC 286. Then we'll get the full card prediction, then the MMA news. You guys should know the drill by now. The highlighted fighter is who I think is going to win. So we'll highlight all of the winners really quick here, and we will get into the live stream. We're also going to put the betting odds next to it, or show you guys the betting odds during the live stream, just to get a better understanding of my actual confidence versus the percentage chance they have on the betting odds. Because a lot of people don't look at the betting odds. Some people do, and then they look at the confident percentage, and then they see, alright, well, this guy is way more confident for Bert MMA, but his odds are like minus 110. That's where you should probably do some sort of a bet on that fighter. So that is what we are going to do. Casey O'Neill, Gunnar Nelson, Rafael Fiziev, and Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare Usman. Alright, let's make him bigger, and let's get in to the live stream. UFC 286, Edwards versus Usman 3, the trilogy. Most confident picks to our least confident pick of the card, and there are some close fights on the card, I would say. Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman, I believe is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people are actually pegging the fight to be. And there are some fights on here with huge favorites, like Gunnar Nelson, like Jack Shore, Muhammad Mokayev, even Jake Hadley and Juliana Miller. So we're going to give our confidence starting with the first fight of the card, working our way up to the main event of the evening. You know the drill. We give our percentage chance I think a certain fighter is going to win, and then if I think they're a slight favorite, or a slight pick, a confident pick, a super confident pick, or maybe like a slight lean or something like that. So we're going to start with the bottom with Juliana Miller and Veronica Macedo. I did say we're going to look at the betting odds as well, just to show you guys the difference between the betting odds as well as my confident percentages that I'm going to give. So Juliana Miller, 5-1 on one of these bookies right here, and people are still putting money on Juliana Miller, which is, it is very interesting. Minus 500 is pretty high on the percentage. I have her around an 80%, so it's not as big as the betting odds have her, but it is still pretty high for Juliana Miller, making her UFC debut as an 80% confident pick right here. That's pretty high for Juliana Miller. So that's what we're going to start with. Juliana Miller at 80% confidence. Ludovic Klein. Now, Ludovic Klein is going to be very interesting, because that is a close fight. Ludovic Klein is a slightly better striker, throws a little bit more volley, better kicking game, but he's not a confident pick. Given the power, the height, the reach of Jai, even the mixing in of the takedowns that Jai could potentially have in that fight, that's a lot closer than the odds have him. They have it at 2-1 for Ludovic Klein, saying he's around a 66% confidence according to the betting odds. I say he's in the 50s, high 50% for Ludovic Klein at 58%. That is where I would have him. So not really a lot of value on either Juliana Miller or Ludovic Klein when looking at their betting odds. We got Joanne Wood, no longer Joanne Calderwood, taking on Luana Carolina. Betting odds for this one are interesting. They are very interesting. If we see right here, Joanne Wood is almost a 2-1 favorite. The best you're going to get her is at -170. Money is coming in on Joanne Wood. I do think it's a decently close fight. And the odds are probably right around where they should be. If I'm being quite honest, I'm a little bit more confident in Joanne Wood than I am for Ludovic Klein. Nowhere near as much as I am with Juliana Miller, so she's probably right in between Juliana Miller and Ludovic Klein in the low 60s. I'd say around 62%, somewhere around that range. Would be a good confidence percentage for Joanne Wood. She's not a 2-1 in my opinion. That's 66% confidence. She's a little bit less than that, right? I think they have the odds right where they should be for Joanne Wood. We got Jake Hadley, one of the biggest favorites on this card, behind Juliana Miller, behind Jack Shore, and behind the man, the myth, the legend. Where did he go? Am I blanking on him? Where is he? Mohamed Mokayev. Yeah, he's a pretty big favorite on the card. Right now, Jake Hadley's at -360 on the betting odds. -360 is crazy. That is absolutely crazy, in my opinion, for Jake Hadley. I think he's going to win, but he's nowhere near Juliana Miller level, which is around the level that they're saying his betting odds should be. I think he's right around Joanne Wood. Literally just right around Joanne Wood. Almost a 2-1 favorite is what I would have him at like a 65%. I don't know what's up with the bookies. Having him at that big of a favorite is crazy, in my opinion. So 65% for Jake Hadley. Christian Leroy Duncan and Dusko Todorovic. A little bit more than Jake Hadley, I'd say, for Christian Leroy Duncan. A lot less than Juliana Miller. Best I'd have him would be 70%. Worst I would have him would probably be around... probably around 68%. So we're going to kind of compromise there a little bit and have it at 69% for Christian Leroy Duncan. A lot of 60% right there. Lerone Murphy, Gabriel Santos. If you watched my prediction video, you know I think this is one of the closest fights in the card, one of the best fights on the card as well. And maybe behind that co-main of Fiziev versus Gaethje, but Gabriel Santos, Lerone Murphy, I'm going to tell you guys right now, is going to be an absolute banger. It just is. It is one of those fights where it's going to be an all-out war, 3 rounds of action, and those type of fights, they could go either way. So I have Lerone Murphy winning, but he's going to be very low on the list. Would I say above Ludovic? I'm going to move Ludovic down a little bit. I'm going to move him to 56 because I don't think he's as confident as I'm having Lerone Murphy right here. And I have Lerone at 58%. So we're going to move Ludovic Klein down just a little bit. But yeah, I'm not too high on Lerone Murphy. The odds that they have him at are kind of good. I guess they're right where they should be. But money is coming in on those Lerone Murphy odds. And the more money that comes in on them, the less likely I am to bet on them. But yeah, I would say that's right around where he should be. Then we have Mohamed Mokayev. And this is an interesting one. Someone was commenting on the full card prediction video yesterday, And they were talking about Muhammad Mokayev's shoulder injury, that he was going to have surgery, but he didn't have surgery so he could fight at UFC 286. He's an 8-1 favorite over a debuting Jafel Filho, who was able to knock out Roy Bert Echeverria with a nice body shot, I believe, in the second or third round. But I'd say it's a little closer than the odds have it, because 8-1 kind of shows it. 9-1 even right there means he's around a 90% favorite, 85, 86% favorite. But I'd have him like a 4-1, 5-1 favorite. That's like the most I'd have Muhammad Mokaev for this fight. So I'm going to have Muhammad Mokaev slightly higher than Juliana Miller. We just don't know with how Veronica Macedo is going to come out after such a long layoff. So we're going to put Muhammad Mokaev just a little bit higher than Juliana Miller at 83%. Sorry about that. Sam Patterson and Yanal Ashmoz in the UFC. Now, Sam Patterson is a big favorite for what I'm going to give his confidence. Yeah, the betting odds that I'm about to show you are going to be way different than the confidence percentage. Minus 320 is crazy. It is absolutely insane. The dude, Sam Patterson, should not even, in my opinion, I mean, he could go out there and look amazing and finish Yanal Ashmoz easily in that fight, but I don't think he should even be a 2-1 favorite. I don't even think that. He's going to be below Jake Hadley, below Joanne Wood, right above Lerone Murphy. He's really not that high of a confidence right there. I don't know why he's so high at minus 3 something. That is 320. That is insane, in my opinion. I'm going to have him at 60% because the betting odds that they were having him at was like 75, 76%. That is, that's a little much. That is a little bit much, in my opinion. Chris Duncan and Omar Morales. Going to be the least confident on the card. This one could go either way. Chris has one of those on and off type of chins, but he's got a good comeback ability, and I do have him slightly winning the fight, but I'm going to only have him at 55%. At the bottom of our list, there's not a lot of like super close fights on the card, though. Hence, we only have 3 50-something percents and no like 51, 52, 50-50 type of fights. Jack Shore, Makwan Amirkhani. Jack Shore is going to be pretty high on this one as well. Is he more than Juliana Miller? I wouldn't say so. Is he more than Chris Duncan or Christian Leroy Duncan? Yeah. He's less than Juliana Miller. So he's in the 70s. I'd say like 76, 77% for Jack Shore. Around that range would be good. Let's go 78% for Jack Shore. And we got Marvin Vettori in the middleweight division. Marvin Vettori. Now, not in the 80% or anything. He's like a 3-1 favorite I saw in one of them. Yeah, minus 300 on the bookies has him at 75% confidence. I don't really have him that high, given the fact that Roman's got legit power, legit jiu-jitsu, and grappling skills as well. He's going to be right in between Duncan and Jake Hadley, I'd say. Right in between there would be a good mark for Marvin Vettori, in my opinion. So let's do that one. We'd put him... He's almost, I would say he's almost Christian Leroy Duncan level. So we'll go 68% for Marvin Vettori, which means his odds really are not worth it. That's kind of an underdog or pass type of a fight. In the middleweight division, Casey O'Neill, this is going to be a super close one, and this is going straight to the bottom of our list. 52% confidence for Casey O'Neill. If you don't know, she's coming off an injury recently. She had a close fight with Roxanne Modafferi. Roxanne Modafferi is giving you a close fight. Come on, guys. Yeah, we're putting her at the bottom of the list. Gunnar Nelson, Brian Barberina. Yeah, he'll be high up there for sure, but not above Muhammad Mokaev. Not above Juliana Miller. Jack Shore. He's right around Jack Shore, just a little bit less, 75%. He's probably less than that. He's probably less than 75%. What are his betting odds? Let's see. Minus 450 for Gunnar Nelson that is crazy. We're going to only have him at 73%, which isn't even minus 300. That's like minus 270, minus 280. And he's minus 450. That is insane odds. Absolutely crazy odds right there. What did we just do? Did we delete it on accident? Pace. Gunnar Nelson, 73%. Confidence. Now we have the second to last one, which you might think I'd be confident in, given that he's a much better striker, technically sound, and things like that, and the fact that Gaethje doesn't do good against this type of opponent. I'm not gonna have him very high. He's gonna be right around the Joanne Wood, Sam Patterson range. He's not. I wouldn't peg him as a 2-1 favorite. He's in the minus 100s range, in my opinion, at a solid 61%. And last but not least, we have the main event of the evening. Kamaru, the Nigerian Nightmare, Usman. Obviously not going to be at the top. He's not going to be next to my guy, Mohamed Mokayev. That's just not going to happen. Is he going to be with Veronica Macedo? I don't think so. Jack Shore, Gunnar Nelson range, Leroy Duncan, Vettori, Jake Hadley, Joanne Wood, Rafael Fiziev, Sam Patterson, Lerone Murphy. Going to be in the 50% at 59%. Confidence. That is it. That is all. And this is what we got. We have our slight leans with Sam Patterson, Kamaru Usman, Lerone Murphy, Ludovic Klein, Chris Duncan, and Casey O'Neill. We're going to make it a little bit smaller so we can fit it on here. Sorry about that one. Rafael Fiziev, Joanne Wood, Jake Hadley, Marvin Vettori, and Christian Leroy Duncan. These are all going to be almost confident picks. A little bit more, a little bit of a push, they would be confident picks. And a little bit less, they would be slight leans. They're just right in between being a confident pick. These are not confident picks, though. Gunnar Nelson and Jack Shore are going to be, and Veronica Macedo are all going to be, actually all of them are going to be confident picks, because super confident is above 85%. So we have our confident picks at the top right here with Mohamed Mokayev, Juliana Miller, Jack Shore, and Gunnar Nelson. Confident picks. What in the world did it do? Confident picks. And there we go. Mohamed Mokayev, Juliana Miller. I don't know why it does that every single time. Jack Shore, Gunnar Nelson are going to be our confident picks. Then we have Christian Leroy Duncan, Marvin Vettori, Jake Hadley, Joanne Wood, and Rafael Fiziev as our almost confident picks. Our slight lean, Sam Patterson, Kamaru Usman, Lerone Murphy, Ludovic Klein, Chris Duncan, and I forgot to add the last but not least category is the 50-50s. These are the fights. It can literally go, either way. They're 50-50 fights. And that is literally just going to be one fight in Casey O'Neill at 52%. Obviously, the confidence isn't 50% to actually be 50% and be like a 50-50 fight, but it's almost there, so I consider it a 50-50. That's what we got. Those are the confident picks. Those are the least confident picks, most to least. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, 1 second, y'all. was off the whole time. There's no way the mic was off this entire time. Wow. All right, well, we'll redo it. We will redo it as we go on too. Gosh dang. That is insane. Let me see. What were y'all hearing the whole time? Was I just talking to nothing? Oh my god, that is horrible. That is horrible. All right, well, we'll redo it. We go on to the UFC's bantamweight division. UFC Fight Night, Vera versus Sandhagen. Early full card prediction. And it's going to be very early. 11 days till the fight card happens on March 25th. On Saturday, we got the main event, Vera Sandhagen. The co-main event, Holy Homie, Gunaskaya. But we got some bangers as well, like Chidi Njokuani, Albert Duraev, Manel Kopp, Alex Perez, Nate Landwehr, Austin Lingo, CJ Vergara, Daniel Da Silva, and even Steven Peterson and Lucas Alexander. We got some fun fights indeed in this UFC Fight Night, and I'm going to go from the bottom to the top and give you guys my early predictions. Like and subscribe if you liked the video so far. Comment your predictions down below. We're going to go from the bottom, make our way to the top. Let's get into it. Tamirez Vidal and Haley Cowan in the bantamweight division. I am going to go Tamirez Vidal to go out and win this fight. She's the better striker. She's got more power in her hands, and Haley Cowan really did not impress me on the Dana White's Contender Series, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. The height and reach does go Haley Cowan here, but I think Tamira should make this a striking fight and hopefully get the finish. I think she's got a very, very good shot to do so, given that Haley Cowan got rear naked by Victoria Leonardo and got submitted by Kelly Clayton, a losing record opponent right there. I'm going to go Tamirez Vidal inside the distance. I mean, she's got the flying knees, she's got the heel hooks on the LFA, she got the Kimura right there. There's a very high chance this could be a decision win for Tamirez Vidal, but I'm very much hoping for a TKO or a submission right here, not in round number 1. Round 1's going to be pretty close. A little bit of a feeling out process, but round 2, I think Tamirez Vidal might hurt Haley Cowan on the feet and finish it with strikes, or submit Haley Cowan in round number 2. Betting odds for this one are they even out here? Brogan Walker, CJ Vergara. Do they even have the betting odds for this fight yet? Tamirez Vidal. I don't think they have it. That is weird. Well, no betting odds yet for Tamirez Vidal and Haley Cowan, but she's at 84%. I don't think she should be 84% by any means, but we'll see what the betting odds have her at in a little bit. And we got Manuel Torres and Trey Ogden in the lightweight division. First thing is first, Trey Ogden is a huge underdog. Not a like minus 400, minus 500 or anything like that. But the man's at plus 166. Plus 166 on the betting odds. That is a lot. That is a lot in my opinion. To have him as a 2-1 underdog in this one is insane in my opinion. Trey Ogden just went out there and beat Daniel Zellhuber, another good Mexican prospect, and he went out there and destroyed him by a unanimous decision, outstruck him for 3 straight rounds, and looked very, very good doing so. Now, Manuel Torres, do you think that Trey Ogden's going to go out there and just easily outstrike Manuel Torres? No. Manuel's got some really good really good power in his hands and good punches and good kicks. So I don't necessarily think Trey Ogden's going to have the striking advantage, given the fact that Manuel Torres was able to go out there and knock out Colton England, Frank Camacho in his UFC debut, and finish a lot of other guys. But this should be a lot closer than most people are thinking. Because Trey Ogden, he's got a very good kicking game, good leg kicks and body kicks and things like that. And he mixes in the ground game very, very well every now and then. So this should be very, very close. I am going to lead Manuel Torres by a very, very close decision. but the odds are a little bit off, and the Tapology is way, way off, especially thinking he's that likely to go out there and get the KO. Fighting an old, aging Frank Camacho at Colton, England is one thing, but fighting a Trey Ogden, who to this point in his MMA career has never been KO'd, little bit crazy to have him as that high of a confidence to go out there and get the KO TKO. I think this one goes all the way. Manuel Torres with the decision. Then we got Vinicius Salvador and Victor Altamirano. It's a 50-51 on Tapology, 50-51 on the betting odds. It's a 50-50 fight. I mean, the odds and Tapology have it like right where it should be. Vinicius Salvador, I mean, he was actually getting outstruck a little bit a few times against Shannon Ross. I don't know. Shannon Ross isn't really that good of a guy in this UFC flyweight division. I think Victor Altamirano should go out there with a little bit better wrestling and grappling, and the striking should be very, very even as well. I expect this to be a banger of a fight in the striking between Victor Altamirano and Vinicius Salvador. And then the wrestling and grappling is going to be the thing that edges it out. Victor Altamirano is going to mix in those takedowns from time to time, and I think win it on the judges' scorecards. This is our first underdog of the card. Used to be minus 105. Now he's at minus 108. Very, very slight underdog. Still an underdog, I guess. Victor Altamirano by a close decision. Next one in the UFC flyweight division, Nali Yang and Brogan Walker in the flyweight division. Do I gotta predict this fight? I mean, it's such a low level, women's MMA, especially in this flyweight division. I don't really want to do it. I really don't want to predict this fight. They're both not that good. The striking, they're both pretty bad strikers, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. The clinching is pretty even. The submission game goes Nali Yang. And I guess the wrestling would go Brogan Walker. So this could either go Nali Yang submits Brogan very, very fast. This could be a 3-round striking fight between Brogan Walker and Nali Yang. Very boring striking fight. 29-28 that goes either way. Or it could be Brogan mixes in the takedowns on the ground, keeps the striking very, very even, and uses the takedowns and ground and pound to win the fight on the judges' scorecards while staying away from the Nali Yang submission. That's what I'm going to go with. The last thing I said, I'm going to go Brogan Walker Sanchez by, or she's not Sanchez anymore, just Brogan Walker by a decision. Steven Peterson and Lucas Alexander in the featherweight division. Again, why is Lucas getting a second fight in the UFC? I know they probably gave him an extra fight to come in on short notice and fight a guy like Joanderson Brito, but Lucas Alexander really is not UFC caliber. He's got solid striking, very, very solid power in his hands and things like that, but Steven Peterson is a much, much better striker. Much, much better striker. Had that split decision with Juliana Rosa, beat Chase Hooper, Martin Bravo, only losing to Alex Caceres and Luis Pena. I do believe Steven Peterson should outstrike him in this one. The height and the reach goes Lucas, but I think the volume is going to go Steven Peterson. Power should be relatively even, maybe a slight edge to Lucas, but I think Steven lands a lot more punches here, and being the veteran that he is, if he needs to wrestle, he'll wrestle. If he needs to grapple, he'll grapple. If he needs the fight to stay on the feet, he'll keep the fight on the feet. He's a veteran of the UFC. I think Steven Peterson gets the dub. 29-28 unanimous decision. If you wanted the betting odds for that one, they did have, where are they? Am I blind? Steven Peterson at minus 170. And the Brogan Walker odds, I'm going to say it right now, bad. Minus 330 for Brogan Walker is insane. That is nuts. There's no chance in hell I would be caught dead betting on Brogan Walker Sanchez at those odds. That is insane. Those are horrible, horrible odds. But that's what the odds have him at. Brogan's like a slight favorite in my opinion. I mean, they have her at like 78% right there. Even that is like pretty much what the odds have her at, but it should literally be like 60%, 55%. That is insane. All right, well, next one. In the welterweight division, Trevin Giles and Preston Parsons. In the welterweight division, I don't know why, I was looking at the betting odds yesterday or the day before, sometime in the past, and they had Trevin Giles as the underdog. Huh? I mean, the man's only lost to, well, recently, Dricus du Plessis and Michael Morales, undefeated prospects. And like the number 6 or number 7 middleweight in the world. Did I mention middleweight? Not welterweight, middleweight in the world. The man beat Roman Dolidze. The guy's about to fight Marvin Vettori. He went out there and beat him. Why are the odds this close? I don't understand. I could look like a fool after Parsons goes out there and just KOs Trevin Giles, but Trevin's a way better striker on the feet, better kicking game, more speed in the hands. He's taller, he's lengthier. He's in the prime of his MMA career. He's more experienced. He's fought the better guys. He's beaten the better guys. I don't know what's up with this one. I got Trevin Giles by a unanimous decision. Possibly a KO TKO, but most likely a unanimous decision. The betting odds again. Wow, what? One of them has him as the underdog right here. The other ones have him as the slightest of slight favorites, having him as the underdog like a day or two ago. That's crazy. That is crazy in my opinion. So I'm going to go Trevin Giles to win by a decision. Those odds are definitely worth looking at though. Jeez. I got a little bit sick a little while ago, so sorry if I keep going and things like that. My nose is a little bit stuffed. Next one in the featherweight division, Daniel Pineda and Tucker Lutz. In the featherweight division, Tucker's not really the finishing type. I don't even remember the last time the man has got a finish. It'd probably be on the regional scene. A little bit taller, a little bit lengthier than Daniel Pineda. A lot younger than Daniel Pineda as well. The striking should be very, very even. Jiu-jitsu goes Daniel Pineda, and the wrestling goes Tucker Lutz. So if Tucker's out striking Daniel, he'll keep it on the feet. And if he's losing in the striking, well, he'll take down Daniel Pineda. So he's got a lot more options than Daniel Pineda in this fight. He's like a 2-1, a little bit higher than that favorite on the betting odds. Probably shouldn't be that big of a favorite. But I agree, he is the favorite, and I got him winning 2 out of 3 rounds, 29-28 decision. I hope he gets a finish, because Daniel does get hurt in a lot of his fights. Got knocked out by Cub Swanson, lost to Georgia Karakanyan way back in the UFC, like 2012. He got knocked out by Antonio Carvalho, but dude, like I told you, Tucker Lutz isn't really the KO TKO type of guy, so most likely this goes all the way. Tucker Lutz by unanimous decision. What do we got next? CJ Vergara and Daniel da Silva. Go to water. All right, next one in the UFC's flyweight division, CJ Vergara and Daniel da Silva. In the flyweight division, I'm going to say one thing. Round number 2, round number 3 for Daniel da Silva is not a good thing. I don't know what's up with him in those later rounds. Yeah, he lost in round number 1 to Francisco Figueiredo and Victor Altamirano. And this random guy, Edelico Alves, I don't know who the heck that is. But round number 2 is where he really starts to fade. I mean, Victor Altamirano and Francisco Figueiredo kind of got him before he actually faded a little bit. But he tends to fade towards the end of round number 1, like in the Victor Altamirano one. And in round number 2, like he did against Jeff Molina. Jeff Molina went out there. I don't know why he was only minus 160. A little bit crazy, but the dude fades fast. He's very legit. Like, if he had 3-round cardio and could sustain what he does in round number 1 to every single round, the dude could probably be UFC champion. He's that good early on in the fight, but after he expends just a little bit of energy, his stock completely plummets. And CJ Vergara, we know he's been to a lot of decisions in the UFC. We're not talking about that Tatsuro Taira one. We know. But Ode Osbourne won, Klitschko Rodriguez, he looked very good in the later rounds of both of those fights. Still had energy, still coming forward and throwing. Daniel Da Silva, I think he'll win round number 1. And CJ is going to look like a bat out of hell round number 2. Potentially, if it goes to round number 3, I'm going to go CJ Vergara with the TKO in the 2nd or 3rd round. Betting odds, probably have him as a big favorite. Oh, wow, minus 260 for CJ Vergara. I do have him by TKO. Nate Landwehr and Austin Lingo in the featherweight division. Age, I don't really care. Height, don't matter. Reach, don't really matter. They're all pretty even in that one. Experience for Nate Landwehr is insane. The man has only lost to Herbert Burns and Julian Erosa inside of the UFC. And then he's got 3 other solid wins over Ludovic Klein, who's also on the card. Was able to go out there and finish him. Darren Elkins by a unanimous decision, and David Onama in what was an absolute banger fight of the night type of performance. I mean, that was freaking insane. And he lost 2 fights to Herbert Burns and Julian Erosa, both with a knee where his back was to the cage. So as long as Austin Lingo doesn't go out there and catch him with the knee, Nate Landwehr should be good. And I'm highly doubting Austin Lingo is going to catch him with a knee, because he's not really the finishing type. He's just staying that range, boxing a little bit, boxing for 3 straight rounds, and looking for a unanimous decision. This shouldn't really be a wrestling or grappling type of fight, but maybe there'll be a takedown or 2. There's always that possibility in an MMA fight, but Nate Landwehr is just so far superior, in my opinion, in terms of the striking. He should go out there and win. I mean, he was a slight, very, very slight underdog against Alex Caceres when those odds are out at plus 140. Probably going to be a pretty big favorite over Austin Lingo. I mean, David Onama was like a 4-1 favorite on Austin Lingo, and Nate Landwehr beat David Onama. So, I think David Onama is a lot harder of an opponent than Austin Lingo. This is a step down, in my opinion. I think Nate Landwehr goes out there, outstrikes Austin Lingo for 3 straight rounds, possibly even mixes in some takedowns, and I got a very dominant 30-27 unanimous decision. But if I know Nate Landwehr, he's going for that finish, so there's a possibility for a late 3rd round submission or TKO, but you never know. I'll go with Nate Landwehr, unanimous decision. Manel Kape and Alex Perez in the flyweight division. I'm going to go Manel Kape to go out there and get the TKO in this fight. If Manel Kape was as good of a grappler as he is a striker, yeah, I go Manel Kape by submission. But he's going to want this one to stay on the feet. He knocked out Ode Osbourne, Zhalga Zhumagulov, as well as David Dvorak. Wasn't a knockout, but he hurt David Dvorak so many times in that one. It is absolutely insane. Lost 2 fights to Alexandre Pantoja and Mateusz Nicolau. The Nicolau fight, probably a robbery in my opinion. And the takedown defense that Manel Kape showed in the Pantoja fight was very, very solid as well. So I think this one should be a 3-round striking battle. Perez is solid leg kicks as we saw against Jussier Formiga. But it don't matter. Manel Kape has more power, more speed, more explosiveness. And I'm hoping, I'm praying that the lengthier, younger, hungrier, up-and-coming guy in Manel Kape on a 3-fight win streak, I'm hoping he becomes the 2nd guy to KO Alex Perez. The last time he got KO'd was Joseph Benavidez, and there's a good shot. There is a very good shot Manel Kape could do it as well, but I don't know. If he gets a submission loss, or if he gets a finish loss, it's usually by submission. So I don't know. It's such a close one in my opinion. It could go either way for a KO or a decision. But I'm going to go Manel Kape by a decision. Again, I'm very, very much hoping Manel Kape goes out there and finishes him, because that'll really propel him in this UFC flyweight division to get some big fights in the top 5. But Alex Perez is not the guy that gets KO'd that often. Usually gets submitted, so I'm going to go Manel Kape by a unanimous decision. Albert Duraev and Shidi and Njokuani. Well, that is interesting. And if you didn't, or if you were wondering, it's minus 210 for Manel Kape. Chidi and Njokuani, Albert Duraev. They're both 34 years old, height and reach. Well, obviously going Chidi. And yes, Albert Duraev is the better wrestler, but early on in the fights, Chidi and Njokuani has solid takedown defense. He looked good early on against Gregory Rodriguez, defending the takedowns and outstriking him on the feet, doing the same thing with Dusko Todorovic, knocking out Marc-Andre Barrios, Mario Souza. I mean, he's very good. He's actually a very solid jiu-jitsu guy as well. And the power that he has on his feet is crazy in my opinion. If Albert Duraev is able to survive round number 1 and round number 2, possibly he could win round number 3 and maybe win round number 2 as well and win a decision, maybe get a late finish on Chidi like Gregory Rodriguez was able to do. But I think Chidi and Njokuani goes out there, and I think he TKOs Albert Duraev. Albert Duraev's face gets swollen up very, very fast. As we saw in the Joaquin Buckley doctor stoppage loss, there's a good chance he's going to get hurt on the feet. There's a good chance he's going to get clipped on the feet. There's a good chance he's going to get his eyes swollen again, some cuts on his face and things like that. The elbows of Chidi can cut him up and things like that. So I do believe Chidi and Njokuani is going to hurt him, cut him open, rock Albert Duraev early on in this fight. And if you know anything about Albert Duraev, if he loses a fight, it's by TKO. 3 KO wins, 4 KO losses. He's never lost a fight by a unanimous decision. So I'd say this one goes not to a decision, but a nice Chidi and Njokuani round 1 KO TKO. Next one we have is, in the flyweight division, Macy Barber and Andrea Lee. In the flyweight division, 24 and 34 years old, similar height, a little bit of a reach advantage there for Andrea Lee, but you already know Macy Barber is going to be better in the later rounds. Round 1 should be even in my opinion, between Macy Barber and Andrea Lee. I believe the grappling and submission game probably goes Andrea, the wrestling will go Macy Barber, and then the striking is going to be very, very, very even. A lot of people going Barber in this one. I think the volume on the feet is going to be very even as well. The power is going to be quite even. I think the one thing that's going to win the fight for Macy is just going to be those takedowns. Just Murad Dvalishvili coming forward, getting those takedowns, and grinding this fight. That's what she does pretty much every single time. Decision Miranda Maverick, decision Montana De La Rosa, decision Jessica Ai. Lost decisions to Mata Ferry and Alexa Grasso. Yeah, we're looking at another decisions. 5 decisions in a row. Yeah, we're probably going to get another one here. Macy Barber's a 2-1 favorite. She probably shouldn't be that big of a favorite, but that's what I'm going to go. Macy Barber by a decision. Holly Holm and Yana Santos, married to Thiago Santos. I don't know how long ago, but she's going to be younger by a lot. 41 years old and 33 years old. Same height, similar reach. Holly Holm is going to be the better striker. And she probably has the better takedown defense. Then Yana Santos was able to go out there and destroy Irene Aldana in their fight, beat Raquel Pennington, Megan Anderson, only losing to Amanda Nunes and a very, very close one to Ketlin Vieira. She's better striker than Yana Santos, and the grappling and wrestling, she's fought much better grapplers and wrestlers and has had very good success against those opponents, so she should be able to keep this one standing for the most part and beat Yana Santos in this fight. Yana just got knocked out by Irene Aldana, got knocked out by Aspen Ladd. I don't even remember the last time that Holly Holm's gotten a knockout. There's a good chance she could get one, and I'm hoping she does. That would be a good comeback for Holly Holm to go out there and get the KO. But it's women's MMA, so I gotta go decision. Holly Holm by a decision. Marlon Vera and Corey Sandhagen in the bantamweight division. I'm going to go Marlon Vera the win. And they're the same age pretty much. The height and reach. Just the height is going to go to Corey Sandhagen. The reach goes Marlon Cheeto Vera. I'm legit going to go how Marlon Vera wins all of his fights. Let's look. First one, Davey Grant. Well, he just kind of outstruck him in that one. Frankie Edgar was losing, got out-wrestled in the fight, got a little bit out-grappled, and then he started to outstrike Frankie Edgar in the later rounds and knock him the blank out. Rob Font was losing almost every single one of those rounds and then almost knocked out Rob Font multiple times. Dominic Cruz was losing a lot of those rounds, and then he knocked the blank out of Dominic Cruz in the later rounds. Do I think he's going to knock out Corey Sandhagen? No. Corey Sandhagen is very tough. He's never been KO'd or TKO'd as a professional MMA fighter. So no, I don't think he's going to go out there and get KO'd or TKO'd in this fight. I don't really think that's going to happen. But what I do think is going to happen in this fight with Corey Sandhagen and Marlon Cheeto Vera is that Corey Sandhagen is going to play it very, very safe. Stay out on the outside, move it. Getting out of the power shots of Marlon Cheeto Vera. And he's going to be on the defense. And Marlon's going to use his aggressiveness and move forward and pressure Corey. He's going to take in a lot of jabs and 1-2s and kicks on the outside from Corey Sandhagen. He's going to lose round number 1. Round 2 is going to be like the Rob Font fight, and he's probably going to hurt Corey Sandhagen a bit and win that round. Corey Sandhagen comes back and wins round number 3. Vera wins round number 4 with the harder shots. And then round number 5 is going to come down to that round. Marlon Vera is going to pressure forward and just start throwing on Corey Sandhagen, and I think he wins that round. It's going to be a close one, though. The odds, in my opinion, should be -110. But I'm going to go Marlon Vera, the underdog, to win by a 48-47 decision. And after this, well, he is going to be the next guy in line to go out there and fight Sugar Sean O'Malley. So Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Cheeto Vera, number 2 versus number 3 in a rematch. That should be a fun one. So I got Marlon Vera by a unanimous decision, maybe even a split decision. It is a very close fight. So those are the full card predictions. We got underdog, got Marlon Vera, Holly Holm, Macy Barber, Chidi, and Jokowane by finish. Manel Kopp, hopefully by finish, but most likely by decision. Nate Landwehr, I'm really hoping he gets a late finish like he does a lot in his MMA career, but, he might get a decision there. CJ Vergara by a late finish. Tucker Lutz decision. Trevin Giles decision. Steven Peterson decision. Brogan Walker decision. Victor Altamirano decision. Manuel Torres decision. And Tamiris Vidal inside the distance. Round 2 or round number 3. So the only ones we have finishes for would be Tamiris Vidal, CJ Vergara, Chidi, and Jokowane, as well as, I think that's it. That's like 4 fighters out of 14 fights that I think there's going to be finishes. And I don't think the main event will be a finish. There's a very, very solid chance that Holly Holm could, because she does have very good kicks in the bag. And Yana Santos has been knocked out a lot recently, so there's a good chance that could be a finish. Manel Kopp is also very, very live to go out there and get the TKO. Like I said, Nate Landwehr is very live in the later rounds to get the TKO. So those are kind of 50-50 on the finish or decision or the finish or decision. And then obviously Victor Altamirano, Vinicius Salvador. Those type of wars could always result into a finish. Manuel Torres has the KO power. Could be a finish as well. So there's a lot of fights in this card that could possibly have finishes, but I'm slightly leaning towards the decision. So those are the early full card predictions for UFC Fight Night. Vera versus Sandhagen. Put yours down below. Like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. We'll drink some water now. Very tasty water, indeed. Alright, we got today's MMA news. Let's go on to the Instagram. We go on to today's MMA news. We got Alistair Overeem. Let's go to messages. Bert MMA news. No, that's not it. And there we go. And now for today's MMA news. I don't know. Maybe we'll go to an MMA news topic like this. I don't know. Well, that's what we're going to be doing as we go on to the UFC. What the heck just happened? Why does he keep doing that? Instagram is not very good to me. Not very kind to me for some reason. I don't know why. I do not understand. What is up with the Instagram? Yo, what is up with it? What is it doing? It was supposed to show this story right here. That specific one. What is it doing? That's weird. Let me see. Because there's a lot of MMA news topics that I want to do, but they were on my story yesterday for some reason. Let me see. From archive? Archive? How do we view the archive? Maybe that's what I'll have to do. Alright, let me see how to find it. Bert MMA. How do you go to the archive? Posts, reels, saved, tagged, reels. I really don't know. Edit profile. I don't know how to do it. How do we get to the archive page? Let's see. Instagram archive. Because we got MMA news from more than a day ago. But I don't know where it is. Let me see. Your profile. I don't know. Archive stories on Instagram? Isn't available on computers, but is available on these devices. That's why. Delete a story from your archive. Okay. Well, that's weird. That is weird indeed. All right. So I can't even show it. That's bad. Wow. How am I going to do it then? Alright, well, I guess we can't do that on computer for some reason. So, we will start with UFC 290 on Tapology. Let's get into it in the UFCs. They really not show it yet? Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez. Let's find it. We gotta do today's MMA news, but this computer does not like me to. So, we shall indeed do it. Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Alright, we go on to the UFC's featherweight division. Yair Rodriguez and Alexander Volkanovski has not been set, but it does sound like it is in the works for UFC 290. I believe that's International Fight Week, most likely to be the co-main event of the UFC pay-per-view, behind only one fight. Stipe Miocic and John Bones Jones. Neither fight has been scheduled or set or officially signed as a UFC fight, but they have sent contracts out to Alexander Volkanovski. They sent the contract to Yair Rodriguez, and the UFC and us are just waiting for both of them to sign those contracts so they can fight at UFC 290. Alexander is going to be coming down from the lightweight division back to the featherweight division, where he had beaten guys like Chad Money Mendez, Jose Aldo Holloway 3 times, Brian Ortega, and Chan Sung Jung, whereas Yair Rodriguez is going to be on that little win streak against Ortega and Josh Emmett, also beating Chan Sung Jung and Jeremy Stevens, and losing to Max Holloway. And he's improved a lot since that Max Holloway fight. His striking's improved, his submission game on bottom has definitely improved. But is it going to be enough for an Alexander Volkanovski fight? Probably not. Probably not. Alexander Volkanovski is probably the better striker here. He's got the leg kicks. He's got the pressure. He's got the power in his hands. And he was able to outstrike Max Holloway. Max Holloway was able to kind of outstrike Yair Rodriguez. Not to mention the newfound rugby wrestler that we all know that Alexander Volkanovski is. He's going to mix in those takedowns here and there as well on Yair Rodriguez. And I do believe we will see a very dominant Alexander Volkanovski 49-46 or a 50-45 again, like he did against Max Holloway. Unanimous decision. There is a chance indeed that Alexander could go out there and finish Yair Rodriguez. But I don't think so. Alexander, I think, is going to win by a decision. The last time he got the finish was Chan Sung Jung, and that was just like a merciful standing TKO type of KO. Yair, I think he's too elusive to get caught by something big from Volkanovski, so I see this one going all the way. What do y'all think about this one happening at UFC 290, potentially at UFC 290 on International Fight Week? Who do you guys have winning and why? And do they get the KO, TKO, or submission? Or does the fight go all the way? Put your thoughts down below. Next topic we have is going to be between the man, the myth, the legend, Henry Cejudo and Merab Dvalishvili. Henry Cejudo. Henry the Messenger. Yeah, Henry Cejudo is the king of gosh dang cringe. But we go on to the bantamweight division. Henry Cejudo versus Merab Dvalishvili in the bantamweight division. Now, you might have been hearing some smack talk online between Henry Cejudo, Merab Dvalishvili, and Aljamain Sterling. They're all kind of talking back and forth to each other. But recently, Henry Cejudo did say that his upcoming fight with Aljamain Sterling that just recently got announced for UFC 288 as the main event in New Jersey with Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, Bryce Mitchell, and so many other good fights on the card. He did say that this fight with Aljamain Sterling was going to be much, much harder than a fight with Merab Dvalishvili, the number 2 bantamweight in the world. He said Merab Dvalishvili is easy money compared to Aljamain Sterling, who is going to be fighting at UFC 288. My thoughts are, no, it's not going to be easy money at all to fight a guy like Merab Dvalishvili. The pressure, the constant pace, the coming forward, the just freaking cardio of the machine. Merab Dvalishvili is insane, and nothing about that sounds easy in my opinion. But do I believe Henry Cejudo would have an easier time fighting Merab Dvalishvili compared to Aljamain Sterling? Probably, given that Merab isn't as good of a striker as Aljamain Sterling, isn't as good of a submission guy as Aljamain Sterling, and the fact that Cejudo already has as good of wrestling as he does, I mean, he kind of just takes out the biggest weapon of Merab Dvalishvili in his wrestling. So I would personally go Henry Cejudo to beat Merab Dvalishvili by a unanimous decision. I have him slightly beating Aljamain Sterling in a very, very close decision, but I do agree, not that it's going to be easy money for Henry Cejudo, but that it'd be an easier fight for Henry Cejudo fighting Merab Dvalishvili, who's just been on an absolute tear, beating Jose Aldo by unanimous decision, Petr Yan, Cody Stamann, John Dodson, Gustavo Lopez, and Casey Kenny, while also TKOing Marlon Moraes. I think he'd also go out there and put on a good fight with Henry Cejudo, but I don't think he'd win. It's not a very good stylistic matchup for Merab Dvalishvili. But what do y'all think? Who would win? Merab Dvalishvili, the Machine, or Henry, the Messenger Cejudo? Put your thoughts down below. Next one. What do we got in the heavyweight division? We got Jon Jones taking on Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier. Let's get some water. Stipe Miocic. Alrighty, we go on to the UFC's heavyweight division. Stipe Miocic and Jon Jones in the UFC's heavyweight division. Now, I saw an article a day or two ago that my guy Dana White was saying about Jon Jones that he would not be shocked if Jon Jones just up and retires after the Stipe Miocic fight. He said he was not going to be surprised if he's just done with MMA after potentially beating Stipe Miocic or losing to Stipe Miocic at UFC 290 on International Fight Week. Personally, I wouldn't be shocked if he loses, that he retires. If he loses against Stipe Miocic, I'd probably say Jon Jones is going to retire from mixed martial arts, especially if he gets KO'd, TKO'd, finished, whatever the case may be. But if he beats Stipe Miocic, I don't think he retires. I do not think that he's just going to up and retire after waiting, 3 years? 2.5 years to build up his body to a heavyweight frame and move up to the heavyweight division, fight Ciryl Gane, and fight Stipe, and then just retire. I don't think he's going to do that. I highly doubt he just retires after all of that work to move up a weight class and then fight the GOAT of that weight class now that you're a champion of both the light heavyweight and the heavyweight division. All of that work just to retire after 2 fights in the division? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. Now, do I think Stipe retires? Yeah. I think either way, win or lose, if Stipe beats Jon Jones, I think he's done. If Stipe loses to Jon Jones, I think he's done. But the other way can't be said. Only if Jones loses do I think he'll retire. If he wins, there's a fly in here. If he wins, I think he keeps fighting. You look at the rest of the UFC heavyweight division, I think he wants to conquer it a little bit. I think he wants to get to that solid 30 wins and 1 loss, I guess you can call it. I think he wants to get to the 30 losses or 30 wins and 1 loss mark in this heavyweight division. You still got guys like after this, he'll be in the number 1 and number 2 guy in the heavyweight division. I think he'd want to fight a few of the up and comers like Sergey Pavlovich, Tom Aspinall, and then retire. If either of those guys wins, like the next time Jon Jones loses, that's all I really gotta say. The next time Jon Jones has a loss in his MMA career, that's when he retires. Whether it's against Stipe, against Sergey Pavlovich, Tom Aspinall, I don't know, someone crazy like Jailton Almeida. It could be any of these guys. But the next time Jones loses is when I think he retires. Or if he clears out the entire top 5 and just says, well, I cleared it out. Just like I did the light heavyweight division, I did the same thing to the heavyweight division as well. And I kind of think he could be able to do so. There's a very good shot. Now, there's always a chance. I mean, I could be wrong and he could retire right after this Stipe Miocic fight. I hope he doesn't, though. I want to see him against Sergey Pavlovich. I want to see him against Tom Aspinall, because it's Tom Aspinall's dream to fight Jon Jones. And I even want to see Curtis Blaydes versus Jon Jones. But I mean, Dana's probably has a good chance of being right. Because would he want to risk his legacy going from Stipe Miocic talk, fighting him in the main event of a pay-per-view, fighting potentially Francis Ngannou in the main event of a pay-per-view? Would he want to go from all of those crazy fights to fight Sergey Pavlovich? That's such a risky fight for Jon Jones. Such a risky fight for Jon Jones to accept, with not a lot of upside, to be honest. Same thing with Tom Aspinall. There's not a lot of upside going out there and fighting Tom Aspinall. So it is weird. It is weird. It's hard to think about. It's hard to think if Jon Jones will retire. And the more and more that I think about it, the more and more that I do think about this, the more I actually start to think he might actually freaking retire. I don't know. That's tough. I went into this video thinking Jon Jones is going to beat Stipe, fight Sergey Pavlovich, maybe fight Tom Aspinall after that, Curtis Blaydes even, and then retire. Go 5-0 in the heavyweight division, clear out the top 5, and retire. But again, the more and more that I'm thinking about it right now, I think he might retire. Like I said, he put in so much work to get into the heavyweight division, but it's so risky to fight Sergey. It's so risky to fight Tom Aspinall. Damn, I don't know, man. That's something I want you guys to discuss that in the comments. Do you guys think that Jon Jones will retire from mixed martial arts after UFC 290? I think Stipe for sure retires. I'm still a little bit split on Jon Jones, though. So put your thoughts down below. Does he retire from mixed martial arts? Next one. Let's see. And, I mean, it is going to be a heavyweight fighter, indeed. Let's see. Number 9. They have him at number... No way. Tapology has Curtis Blaydes at number 1. Okay. All right, buddy. All right. Okay. Curtis Blaydes. Really? Really? Come on, man. What are you doing? Curtis Blaydes got knocked out by freaking Derek Lewis. All right, well, we go on to... Where's Tom Aspinall at? Number 5. Tom Aspinall in the UFC's heavyweight division. Tom Aspinall will be going to UFC 286. Edwards versus Usman to discuss with the UFC who he would like to fight next, but he's already named an opponent. He said Ciryl Gane would be an amazing fight for him, or Marcin Tybura. Personally, I thought a good Tai Tuivasa fight would be pretty good. But if he can go out there and get a Ciryl Gane fight, that'd be amazing. Because if he wins against Ciryl Gane, that puts him at the number 1 contender in the UFC's heavyweight division. And I actually favor Tom Aspinall to beat Ciryl Gane, given he's a much better wrestler and a much better grappler. So yes, Tom Aspinall probably would rather fight against Ciryl Gane than a freaking Marcin Tybura, but he said Marcin Tybura would be a good comeback fight as the main event of a UFC Poland card. He didn't mention Sergey Spivak, Volkov, he's already beat him, Jairzinho Rozenstruik or Tai Tuivasa. He just went way up to Ciryl Gane at number 1 after he lost, given that Stipe is fighting Jones, Pavlovich is fighting Blaydes, Tuivasa below him, Volkov he already beat, Spivak he already beat, Jairzinho lost to Alexander Volkov. He said, I'm going to go down to number 10, or I'm going to fight number 1. Those are my 2 things that I like to do. And Marcin Tybura already said yes, he would like to fight Tom Aspinall, and obviously he's going to say yes. The man's at number 10. Getting a top 5 fight in the UFC heavyweight division. That's a big deal. So yeah, Marcin Tybura has already accepted. Haven't heard anything from Ciryl Gane. I'm going to be honest, I highly doubt Ciryl Gane would like to fight Tom Aspinall until maybe Tom Aspinall cracks number 3. Because I think after the Curtis Blades Sergey Pavlovich fight later this year, if Tom Aspinall can beat Marcin Tybura, he'll probably move to number 4. Sergey Pavlovich will probably stay the same. If he wins, Curtis Blades will move to number 3. And if Aspinall wins, he'll probably move to number 4. And that'll make it a little bit more likely to fight Ciryl Gane, because at that point, Stipe might have retired, Jones might have retired, and that'll put him in a situation to possibly fight Ciryl Gane. So, I think a Ciryl Gane fight is inevitable for later on in Tom Aspinall's career, maybe a second fight back after the injury. But as the first fight back from the injury, I think most likely that'll probably be against Marcin Tybura, because they both said yes, they're down to do the fight. And Marcin Tybura has already agreed. Really no answer from Ciryl Gane, which is to be expected. But yeah, I think that's a good one. Tom Aspinall, Marcin Tybura in the UFC's heavyweight division. I go Tom Aspinall by TKO. Put your thoughts down below. Next one. Understand the business. Alright, let me see. Jones versus Aspinall. Created UFC Mexico fantasy card. Interesting. Interesting indeed. We got Kai Kara France. Alright, let's go on to Instagram, because now we're back on our normal little schedule. 1 second, y'all. Very good taste. Alright, next one. In the UFC's flyweight division, Kai Kara France. Sorry about that. In the flyweight division, Kai Kara France and Amir Albazi has been set inside of the UFC's flyweight division for June 3rd UFC Fight Night. 24-10-0-1. 7-3 in the UFC, beating Rogerio Bontorin, former champ Cody Garbrandt, and Askar Askarov, taking on the undefeated inside the UFC, Amir Albazi, who's been doing absolutely amazing inside of the UFC. Kai Kara France. Tapology. This is going to be a very close fight, in my opinion, because Kai Kara France is kind of the gatekeeper, I'd say, in the UFC's flyweight division. He's still almost there to be in title contention. But if you go out and beat Kai Kara France, you're going to be really close to a title shot. Brandon Royval was very close to a title shot after he beat Kai Kara France. He was 1 fight away from getting a title fight. Brandon Moreno beat Kai Kara, then he got the belt very soon after that, and then he lost to Brandon Moreno again. So he's a little bit of the gatekeeper of the flyweight division. If we look at the UFC rankings here, he is at the top of this flyweight division at number 3, where Amir Albazi is at number 7. But, like I said, he's kind of that gatekeeper where if you beat Kai Kara France, you're probably 1 fight away, or you're going to get the title shot right after you beat him. Alexandre Pantoja going to be fighting Brandon Moreno. If Amir Albazi is able to beat Kai Kara France, that puts him right next in line for the winner of Alexandre Pantoja and Brandon Moreno. So, I think that's probably what's going to happen. If Kai Kara France loses, Amir Albazi is probably going to get a title shot. And 58% are going Albazi, 42% are going Kai Kara France, in what is going to be a very close fight. Personally, I would like to see Amir Albazi win. get some new fresh blood at the top of the flyweight division. But I do have Kai Kara-France winning 2 out of 3 of these rounds, outstriking Amir Albazi on the feet, defending most of the takedowns for 2 out of the 3 rounds, and winning this fight by a unanimous decision. Yeah, he'll probably get taken out a few times, but I don't think Amir Albazi is going to control him and hold him on the ground. And Kai is just a lot better of a striker, in my opinion, than Amir Albazi. Should be a close one again. I do want Albazi to win and get some new blood there, but most likely I say it goes all the way. I got Kai Kara-France, the underdog, by a decision. Next one, in the light heavyweight division, Jan Blachowicz and I just messed up the name. In the light heavyweight division, Jan Blachowicz and Nikita Krylov. In the light heavyweight division, Nikita coming off that very good win recently inside the UFC over Ryan Spann. Before that, he had another solid win on Alexander Gustafsson. He did lose to Paul Craig. He's very up and down in the UFC, but if he's losing, they are 2 ranked opponents. I don't even remember the last time Nikita Krylov has lost to a bad opponent or anything like that. He has lost to Jan Blachowicz in the past. He didn't get finished. He lost by a unanimous decision, but that was a very, very long time ago. Jan is coming off the draw, I guess you can say, to Magomed Ankalaev. And now, a fight with Nikita Krylov does actually make some sense. In the UFC's light heavyweight division, Ryan Spann moving to number 10 in the light heavyweight rankings. Krylov just kind of stayed exactly where he was. Personally, I thought they should at least move him above Anthony Smith on the UFC rankings, but that's just me. Jan has already fought Alexander Rakic. He's already fought Magomed Ankalaev. He's not going to fight Yuri. Not going to fight Anthony Smith. Maybe versus Johnny Walker if he's able to beat Volkan Oezdemir. I believe that's who's fighting. But Nikita Krylov versus Jan Blachowicz makes a lot of sense, in my opinion, for the next fight for both of them. Number 3 versus number 6. 5-round main event of a UFC fight night. I'm in for it. Sounds like a good fight, in my opinion. So, I am going to go for it to happen. What do y'all think? Jan Blachowicz or Nikita Krylov, who wins in a potential rematch in the light heavyweight division? I'll go Nikita Krylov very, very slightly. And what is going to be a very close fight, but put your thoughts down below. Next fight in the UFC heavyweight division, Francis Ngannou versus Deontay Wilder fight in Africa has been verbally agreed. Not signed, it's not official, not 100%, that Ngannou's going to fight Deontay Wilder in Africa later on this year or at the beginning of 2024, but it is verbally agreed. Francis Ngannou wants to fight. Deontay Wilder wants to fight. Now all that needs to be done is the signing, the paperwork, the contracts, the promotions, the Showtime, Bellator, who is going to televise the fight, whatever the case may be. All of the nitty-gritty stuff has to happen now. But after Francis Ngannou was doing amazing inside the UFC, beating Cyril Gane by a unanimous decision, out wrestling him on the ground, and then knocking out almost every single one of his other opponents. Now, Francis Ngannou is going to go over to boxing, where he's going to fight one of the biggest punchers in the sport of boxing, one of the biggest punchers in the sport of MMA, in Francis Ngannou, probably the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division, taking on the biggest puncher in boxing. This should be a banger. I think it's going to be Ngannou versus Wilder, power versus power. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know how to promote this type of a fight rather than saying these are some of the most powerful fighters on earth. that could be a good way of promoting this type of a fight, but it is a good one. Ngannou versus Deontay Wilder. I'd probably go for Deontay Wilder to win. I don't really think Ngannou is going to have too much success over there in the sport of boxing. He always has the shot to knock out Deontay Wilder, depending on how big the gloves are, because that's something Ngannou's probably going to be shooting for, smaller gloves, because he's used to the MMA gloves, but whatever the case may be, I think Deontay Wilder probably gets the win. Do you think the fight actually happens? Do you think it will get signs? Or it's just going to be one of those ones that gets talked about and never actually comes to fruition? Put your thoughts down below. Next one in the bantamweight division, Merab Dvalishvili is now the #1 UFC bantamweight fighter in the world. Contender in the world, moving from #3 to #1, hip-hopping over Petr Yan and Sugar Sean O'Malley. Marlon Chito Vera also went over Petr Yan, going from #4 to #3. No movement from #5 to #8, but for some reason, I don't really know why, Ricky Simón replaces Pedro Munoz from #10 to #9 in the bantamweight division. And then we got Jonathan Martinez making his top 15 debut inside of the UFC, replacing Said Nurmagomedov after winning the 29-28 unanimous decision earlier this week. What do you think about these bantamweight ranking updates? Do you think Merab Dvalishvili deserves the #1 spot? Marlon Vera deserves to go above Petr Yan? Put your thoughts down below. And what happens if Corey Sandhagen beats Marlon Vera, given that he's already lost to Petr Yan? But if he beats a guy ranked higher than Petr Yan, does that make Corey Sandhagen higher than Petr? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below for the bantamweight ranking updates. Next one in the flyweight division, Bruno Silva takes Tyson Nam's place at #15 in the UFC's flyweight division rankings after submitting the former #15 flyweight in the world, Tyson Nam, in round #1, showing he's got crazy power in his hands and good jiu-jitsu to mix it on the ground as well. He's recently training with Demetrius Johnson as well as Henry Cejudo. This dude is looking very, very good. A front kick to the chin and then a rear naked. Absolutely crazy stuff from Bruno Silva. Who should he fight next now that he is inside of the top 15? The heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall is now a top 5 UFC heavyweight fighter, moving from #6 to #5, flipping over Tai Bam Bam Tuivasa in the UFC's heavyweight division. Stipe Miocic going down one from tied. I don't know why they do ties on the UFC rankings, but he was tied at #1. Now he is the #2 contender. You see Tom Aspinall moved up 1. Alexander Volkov also moved up 1 after his solid win over Alexander Romanov, moved above Sergey Spivak on the rankings. And then, of course, Alexander Romanov got pretty much destroyed by Alexander Volkov, so he moves down from #14 to #15. What do y'all think about these ranking updates? Who should Tom Aspinall fight next? And Alexander Volkov, he's already lost to Tom Aspinall pretty dominantly. He already lost to Curtis Blades pretty dominantly. Who does Volkov fight next? Maybe Tai Tuivasa? Could be a good fight. Put your thoughts down below for the UFC heavyweight ranking updates. Now we go on to... what do we go on to now? The heavyweight division, Alexander Volkov. Really, I'd like to possibly revenge somebody that I have lost to. Maybe, for instance, my rematch with Gane would be interesting. Alexander Volkov had a very, very solid win this weekend over a very solid, almost undefeated guy in Alexander Romanov. Ended up knocking him out easily easily in round numero uno. And before that, was able to knock out Jairzinho Rozenstruik as well in round number 1. Beat Marcin Tybura, Alistair Overeem, Walt Harris, and has only lost to number 5 Tom Aspinall and Ciryl Gane. Now he is calling for that Ciryl Gane rematch. He wants to do it again, given that he's on this good win streak. 2 first-round KO wins in a row. He's been improving his wrestling and grappling defense. His striking is getting a lot better. I'd like to see the rematch. It would be a good fight, in my opinion. What do y'all think? Should they make the rematch between Ciryl Gane and Alexander Volkov, and who would win between the two? I got Ciryl Gane with another decision, but put your thoughts down below. That might be it for today's news. And that is one more in the heavyweight division. Alistair Overeem, not a surprise, like I said on this post, has been caught with a doping violation after his win over Badir Hadir, however you say that freaking name, and his win is now a no contest after winning against Badir Hadir. I don't know how to say that freaking name, but after winning that fight, he's now a no contest. I mean, we have Overeem back in the flesh. And I kind of knew it was going to happen. We kind of all did, because the man was absolutely jacked before USADA came around. After USADA, he just kind of looked like an uncle. I don't know how else to really describe Alistair Overeem. Still looked pretty good. Still looked pretty shredded on some of those occasions. But I knew as soon as he left the UFC and there weren't as strict of doping policies and things like that, I knew he was going to get caught for something, and it has already happened. Only one fight away from the UFC, he has been caught. What do y'all think about this? Alistair Overeem caught for doping outside of the UFC. Put your thoughts down below. All right, that is it for today's live stream. Thank you guys for watching.